I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can now. That was weird.
Okay.
How are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So our podcast is all about your journey in the music industry, how you got to where you are today. We'll probably talk a little bit about Mansions on the Moon, if that's cool.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Right on. Yeah, and we'll obviously talk about your solo stuff as well. So, cool. Thanks for doing this. I saw the Mansions on the Moon are from LA. Are you originally from LA?
I grew up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Ah,
Yeah, so no. I lived in LA for like 8 years and then recently moved to Nashville.
oh, nice.
Yeah,
Very cool. Very cool.
Nashville.
Tell me about growing up in Cedar Rapids. Was there places for live music? Like, how did you get into music?
I mean, there were. Cedar Rapids is awesome. Probably contrary to popular belief. I don't know. It's kind of like people always say it's a flyover state, I guess. I don't know. But Iowa's really cool. And where I live, where I grew up in Cedar Rapids is kind of like glacial drumlins and rolling hills. It looks like the Shire, I feel like. I feel in like many ways it is kind of like the Shire, at least when I was growing up, just because it's got its own culture, but it's also kind of sheltered in a way. And yeah, there's lots of agriculture, and I mean that's Iowa, but how I got into music, is that how
Yeah.
I transitioned?
Uh-huh.
Well, not to throw Iowa under the bus, but there's not as much to do as other places. Like we didn't get a lot of bands that I loved. I'd go to Iowa City and see them, but for the most part, we sort of like in high school threw parties outside and like in big areas of land with bonfires, and that's really what kind of came about. It was just fires and guitars and making up songs that way. But I guess when I was a little kid, when I first picked it up, I found a guitar in my parents' attic.
Oh, okay.
And my dad, I didn't know this, but my dad bought it, I think, the day I was born at a garage sale.
Wow.
Like, he just had a feeling, and he bought this classical acoustic guitar and put it up in the attic, and then I found it and asked him to string it. And interestingly enough, my twin brother and my older brother all had piano lessons. And
Okay.
I wasn't allowed to do it, nor did I want to, because I was a crazy kid who couldn't sit down for a few minutes.
Sure.
I would have driven the old piano teacher crazy, and they knew that. So I feel like the piano lessons sort of jaded my brothers a little bit because it was so formulaic and like lessons and stuff that you had to do. And I kind of just taught myself and fell in love with it that way. But yeah, that's how I picked it up. My family is musical. My dad plays the piano really well, and he's in a German band.
Oh, wow.
And he's a band leader. He plays the flugelhorn and the trumpet, as well as the accordion, and he wears lederhosen in the band, and like, so he loves music. And he plays the zither, and so it's always been around. And I think because it wasn't forced on me. I think it just naturally, I don't know, it was gifted to me, I guess.
Wow. Yeah, and you have a twin brother, you said, that doesn't play?
Well, he doesn't, but he's a great singer and he loves music.
Okay.
But yeah, he put down the piano.
Right on. So from learning piano not piano, but from picking up that classical guitar, Did you just teach yourself? Just kept practicing and playing it every day?
Yeah, I took drum lessons for about a year.
Okay.
But I wasn't very good, and I just kind of wanted to be with my friends in the band,
Hmm.
in actual
Orchestra, like yeah, like
right.
marching band.
And I picked the snare drum because that's like the easiest thing to put in the bag, and I could goof around. But I took a couple months of guitar, just to learn how to tune it, how to string it, how to hold it.
Mhm.
And then I sort of got bored with that, and I got a chord book, and just like we would just make up songs for no other reason because they were usually silly songs or like mean songs about an ex-girlfriend or something. But like they
Sure.
were, that's what we did for fun. And honestly, as lame as it sounds, we used to drive around and we do this thing called the route. And and we put on rap music and freestyle rap while we're hitting this route. And I think it sounds lame, but I think that's kind of how we all learned how to write lyrics and stuff.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting. um, how funny. So did you start a band in high school or like once you started
No,
learning how to play? Oh wow.
Mansions on the Moon was my first band I was ever in.
Really?
Yeah.
And so tell me how you got from Cedar Rapids to LA.
The long or the short?
The long.
Okay, cool.
It's up to you actually.
I was just okay. Well, so after high school, I went to the University of Montana in Missoula, Montana.
Mhm.
I studied wildlife biology. I actually remember talking to my music teacher, choir teacher in high school, and saying, "I think I want to go into music," and he dissuaded me, not because he thought I couldn't do it. I think he was like, "It's super hard, it's arduous, and it might seem like it might suck the life out of it a little bit." And so I didn't, but all the while I would play guitar and banjo, and there's so much music out there, and we go rafting and then go skiing, and then at nights we just play music together. A lot of it was like bluegrass and folky stuff, but that's kind of where I started writing songs and recording them, on like GarageBand, and just pass those around my friends and stuff.
Mhm.
They're so embarrassing to listen to now, but that's kind of I wrote all these songs, and then I re-met a friend of mine, Ben Hazelgrove, up in right around the UP of Michigan, and our we both had like we would go up there in the summers when we were kids, and he was in a band called Numa Trio, and I was playing my guitar one night at a party up there, and he was like, "Man, these are really good. Will you come over and like maybe we can record some?" And then we kind of just vibed out and recorded some like just on his computer, and he was making really cool instrumentals using Ableton, and that was kind of my first time hearing, a DAW, like a digital audio workstation. I was just like,
Mhm.
holy cow, like you can actually make this stuff. Like that's amazing. I was blown away. And so that's kind of we traded songs back and forth, from a distance while I was finishing college, and then I moved to Minneapolis, and he was in Virginia Beach, working out of Timbaland's studio, and he called me. He's like, I want to write an album. Will you come down here for a couple weeks? And so I was like, sure, yeah, I've got nothing to do.
Mhm.
And I went down there, and it was awesome, and we wrote some music, and then I had to go back home and work, but I got out of the the plane, and it was negative 20 degrees, and I was just like, I can't. I'm not. I can't do this anymore. So I moved. I made the leap, and moved in with Ben, and we just started making music full time. We went to Atlanta. We worked out of the studio called the Artist Factory, and we worked with the guys at Rock City a bunch, and just wrote songs like poppy stuff. But then all the while, I was kind of writing acoustically. And then one night, we decided to stay after in the studio, and we recorded the Mansion song, She Makes Me Feel, which was our first song that we released. And just for no reason, just to do it. And some people heard that, and we were actually out in Boulder at the time, and that's when we got a call from Shay Haley from NERD. And he was like, yo, I heard your song, She Makes Me Feel, what's up with it? What are you guys doing? And we're like, I don't know. He's like, will you come here and meet us at the Neptune studio? And we're like, yes. So we went on a flight back to Virginia Beach. We met Chad and Shay and showed them all our music. I was so nervous. There's still a video of it. I think I'm like sweating bullets playing the acoustic guitar so fast. Oh, and they liked it, and they were like, well, y'all can record here. And so that's when Lane Shaw, the drummer of Mansions, that's when we kind of asked him, like, do you want to do this with us? And so we all moved to this beach house, and that's kind of the birth of Mansions on the Moon.
Wow.
That's all it all just accidentally came together, I guess.
Do you know where he found the song to
I think
to reach out?
My buddy Shomi, who does some really great music videos and creates awesome media, showed him the song.
Okay. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And then from there, it just kind of took off for you guys as far as Mansions on the Moon?
Shomi also, and I think through Shay and that sort of network hooked us up with the Mad Decent folks. And that's when, Diplo was, I don't know. I don't want to say he was just coming up then, because I think he had done a bunch of stuff, but he hosted our mixtape that was just incredible. And because I am not, I guess, plugged in, I didn't know really who he was and how awesome that was. And then, so that really gave us some attention, I guess. And,
sure.
And after that, I guess we felt like we'd spent enough time in Virginia Beach and we wanted to see what LA was all about. And so we moved out there.
Wow. So you moved to LA after you had the mixtape out and all of the Diplo stuff had already happened.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you moved to LA. And then do you guys just start, like, were you looking for a record label? Like, what was the next thing you guys did when you got to LA?
That 10,000 hours rule, like that people talk about. Like, sure. I think that for us was just because we didn't know really what we were doing, and we needed enough time to figure that out, and maybe too long. But like, we were maybe looking for a record label or just a bigger network of people and artists and place to record and all that stuff, to then put out an EP and hopefully put out a full-length album, which we did later. During that time, we moved to this, like, we all lived in the same house in Hollywood. And I remember, like, one of the first shows we ever did was Snowball outside of Denver, up in the mountains. I think it was in Vail, maybe. But anyway, that was our first show. And on the way back to LA from there, we got a call from our agent saying, like, do you guys want to open for Wiz Khalifa and Mac Miller? And, and they're like, oh, and by the way, you have like a week and a half to prepare. And so we we said, yeah, we'll do it. Of course. Like, cause Lane was listening to Wiz so much at that time. And so, yeah, that's our first tour that we did.
Oh my! So your first tour was with Mac Miller and Wiz Khalifa?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And how did you guys, like? how did you tour? Did you have like a van, or did you get to hop on
We had
Wiz's bus, or like how does that work?
Oh, we called it the Vamborghini.
That's so creative. I've never heard that. That's probably the most creative band vehicle name I've heard yet.
And it was a scary white van, and like we were all piled in that, and yeah, we went on the road. Looking back, it's like I'm so glad we did it, but I wonder if it was like because we only had a week and a half to prepare. Our live show was bad at that time, and like because we didn't have enough time to practice, and so like looking back, I wish we would have had more time to rehearse, but like we were kind of just thrown out there, and then we worked out the kinks as we did it, and I think by the end we were really solid live. But that first tour was rough.
But like, what crowds were you playing to? That you must have been playing to thousands of people every night.
Yeah, arenas, like college basketball arenas.
Oh my!
And like that was like I wasn't in a band, so like that was crazy. Because I really had played like enough shows that I could count on one hand, and then all of a sudden it was like, here, do this. And so, man, I was sitting up there with like an acoustic guitar, it was just wild. But
yeah, like whoa. So you had to go. I can't imagine that. How was the crowd response? Is it like, could you even? I mean, with that many people, was it kind of like, how did you read the room and stuff?
A lot of people knew who we were. I think they were really excited to see Wiz. Certain crowds were into it. Other crowds not so much. Like I said, we were like really trying to figure it out. But it was awesome, and I wouldn't change anything. But yeah.
Wow. Are you guys still doing Mansions on the Moon?
No, I live in Nashville now. And everybody's kind of doing their own thing. But yeah, we're still, I mean, those dudes are like my brothers.
Mm-hmm. What was the decision to start the solo thing?
So I wrote a lot of these songs on the acoustic guitar, and I still do. And it's very just top line melody. And then that was a lot of the process. I would take those top line melodies and then transpose them onto maybe an instrumental Ben had. And then as I got into more production, sometimes it would be, my instrumentals and someone else's melody. But a lot of those melodies that I had that never actually made it onto the Mansions stuff, all those songs, I still had. And, I love, and I wanted to do something with them. So when Mansions kind of ran its course, I thought it was the natural thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And is that what came? And so now when you release stuff with Ted Wen, like you've put out 2 songs so far, mm-hmm. and those are songs that, like, how many songs do you have ready? Do you have an EP on the way? What can we expect?
Got an EP coming out soon. And yeah, we just got the art back for it, which is exciting. And the EP has been done for quite a while. It's just kind of waiting on all the parts and all the things that go along with it. But yeah, I'm super excited about that. Right now I'm working on an acoustic version of the EP to put out the songs in their sort of original infancy, but add a little mm-hmm. bit of instrumentation to them to take it to a place where it can be released and people can enjoy it. But and then hope to finish an album.
Cool, very cool. With the solo stuff, like, have you went out and played those live yet, or have you
no
done any? Is there just songs that you wrote and recorded, and you're just going to put them out and see what happens?
Yeah, I've figured out a show that I can do in the box by myself, mm-hmm. and I've recorded some of that. ideally, I think that these records would sound great with bass and drums, and maybe the bassist can be a multi-instrumentalist, and I'll play the guitar and keys and sing, and that would be the ideal show. And then, God willing, we can take it to a bigger level and like do festivals and try to play all these different parts and have like, 2 drummers and 2 keyboardists and like, I envision sort of a Stop Making Sense sort of just huge live performance that way.
Sure. Wow. Well, tell me about signing a deal with Blacksmith Motown Record. That must have been pretty crazy.
It's incredible. It's just really exciting, and I feel just extremely humbled and like, I don't know. I just, it's awesome.
Like, how did you get approached by them? Like, how did that deal come about?
Well, I started working with Corey Smith, who's started that label, Blacksmith, and he was my manager for a few years before that even came about. So we were
wow,
together, yeah. And I met him through Chad Hugo, and he was a fan of my acoustic stuff, and we like sort of sat down and I showed him the stuff, and we always have a very similar creative vision, which is awesome. And so we were able to work together to take the music where it is now, with those 2 tracks you heard and what the EP is. And so, I think he really made that happen, along with Lindsay Lanier and some other awesome people I work with.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you already had Corey as a manager, you said?
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a no-brainer for you to sign with them, or you didn't have to go around and shop like record labels and stuff?
I mean, like we met with folks and all that stuff, and like I think it just makes so much sense because more than anything, like I said, we kind of like know what we want to do creatively, and
Sure.
If it was different, I probably wouldn't have done it. But like, since I just know that was the right choice to do to achieve the art I wanted to make, that was, a no-brainer.
Is that what took you to Nashville? Like the, Mansions on the Moon kind of stopping what and then you wanted to pursue like more of a singer-songwriter thing?
Not really. Honestly, what took me to Nashville is I lived in LA a long time, and I love LA, and maybe I'll come back there someday. But I've always been really drawn to nature and like more land and open spaces and things like that. So I was missing that. And my wife and I think we just wanted a new adventure, And so we literally looked at the map and we were like, where can we do what we like to do? And where can we do our careers, but also get A, B, and C, that's not necessarily in LA. And so we settled on Nashville.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, I love it here.
Yeah, my wife and I, we haven't been. We actually had a trip scheduled for next month, but because of COVID and stuff, we had to cancel it. So hopefully in the next few months we'll be able to make it out. We really want to go check it out.
Hit me up if you're in town. I can show you the best hot chicken places and
hell yeah, that'd be great.
I'm actually supposed to be in Bermuda right now, but we had to cancel too. I have a friend getting married down there. She moved there, so we had to cancel as well.
Oh my gosh! Well, what have you been doing to keep yourself occupied over this quarantine? Have you been writing? Have you been doing any of the Instagram live videos or any of that stuff?
I've been writing. This release is really great to keep my mind busy. Those 2 releases and then the upcoming EP. yeah, writing, reading, trying to go on really long bike rides and hikes. I miss restaurants a lot. I actually got my hair cut for the first time since January today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
It looks good.
dude.
We did.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say we have like a clipper, like a buzz clipper, and I did mine in my younger son's hair.
Nice.
So it's like in the backyard, just weren't.
I should have. My hair was crazy. It was a full-on mullet, and then I don't know what was going on in the front, but
Right on. Well, that's good that you got your hair cut. I know stuff's starting to slowly open up, which has been good.
yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah, thank God.
the live music scene will be alive here soon enough. But
yeah, let's hope so. I haven't even heard what the plan is there, but
yeah, I don't know. I've seen like drive up concerts, and that's about it. Like I've seen a couple different cities trying that, but I don't really know what that means in the future.
Yeah.
I guess we'll all have to see. But thank you so much, Ted, for chatting with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Don't give up. Like, I think there were times when I was really struggling, and like, I'd buy a big bag of rice, like a dog food sized bag of rice, and only eat that for a month, and like things where it was just like, man, I don't know if I can do this anymore. But I think it was just like, I'm going to write music no matter what, because I like to do it. And so like, I guess for a younger artist, it's just like, keep at it, and like successful people don't quit. And like, if that's the main thing. And I think, during my whole career, I wasn't, I had this weird ego trip where I was like, no, I'm a musician. I'm not going to get another job. But then, I did. And I was teaching music in LA to like high school kids. And I taught music at Occidental for high school age kids, and all these different jobs. And that was super rewarding. And it also let me continue to focus on music and do that without losing hope or losing my mind or losing my house, So yeah, it's just like, never give up.